were, and I will just wait for it to pop up on my screen again so we can do the introductions. I always feel that I kind of cut stuff off if I talk too early, so I'd rather just wait a minute. And hey, it's alive. You know, you can always rewatch it later. It's something nice to do, isn't it? A little moment that we can share and have again later. So I'll just wait for it to pop up on my screen on my computer. But before we do, how are we all? Are we well? It's a really rainy, horrible Tuesday here in the UK. It's absolutely just peeing it down. It's not great, if I'm completely honest with you. Not my kind of weather. Did have a little bit of an update health-wise about people that were ever so slightly interested from last time. I'm glad someone has just joined because I was getting worried that it's not popping up on my screen again. It's so slow. Ah, there we go. Right, we're live. So I will just wait for this to kind of go. Okay, there we go. North Star, hi, how are you? First one in. Blimey, 5 already. So yeah, look, hi, my name's Rob. This is Cat Rabbit Scout Model Studios, and welcome to the third part of my Lions Guard Kitbash kind of thing that I've been doing with chat, who have been absolutely awesome. We just keep getting better and better. We had some fantastic ideas. I will fill you all in with what we've been doing, but we'll have a little bit of a catch up first. How are we all today? Are we well? If you can hear that, that's the rain outside. It's absolutely peeing it down here in the UK, so I do apologise if it gets loud. It's coming right against my window, which is just in front of us, so there's nothing I can do about that. I'm sorry. Enjoy the ambient noise. So a few things. I was waiting for a bit of a update. I've had some problem with my knee this year. It's been absolutely a long time. I've been in pain for about 7 months now, which is kind of really why I took a bit of a foot off the gas with YouTube, because I found that I was really struggling to kind of get comfortable and stuff like that. It's so I've missed part 2, so it's been waiting patiently for this one. Welcome. Hey, don't worry, we're going to do a little a little recap. Don't worry, like in the previous episode, we'll do all that. But it's saved on my live, so you can always rewatch it later and catch up. Hey, you don't have to miss out on anything. So for 7 months, I've been in a lot of pain with my knee. I run and stuff like that. I'm quite healthy. I'm in good shape. You know what I mean? I've just turned 39, and you know, although I like a beer, I wouldn't say that I've got a bit of a beer gut, but you know, I tend to look after myself. But for 7 months, I've been in absolute agony with my knee. Doctor said it was gout, and nothing kind of lined up. He was like, drink more water. I drink 2 litres of water a day. Exercise more. Well, I'm always running. You know, I climbed Snowdon for charity earlier in the year, which was amazing. And then I went back again, and it was gout. And then I said, well, no, it's my knee. And he was like, oh, it's your knee this time. I was like, it's my knee last time. It's been a whole mess of a situation. I got the results back from my MRI yesterday, and it turns out I've got a subchondral fracture in my lateral side of my knee. Basically, I've got a fractured kneecap and have had for the last 7 months, and that's why I'm never happy and I'm in constant pain. So nice to know that it's getting sorted. However, it's frustrating from a point of view of a patient where no one has kind of listened to me. It seems like I was dealing with a stubborn doctor that didn't want to give him this diagnosis. That's just my personal opinion. But at least now we can kind of, it's got to be strapped up within the next couple of days. A beaky helmet, I will be disappointed. Well, you stay tuned for beaky helmets. So that's just, you know, where I am with absolutely everything. It's been agony. I'm glad there's a diagnosis now. We know what the problem is, so we can get it sorted. I am annoyed that for 6 weeks I'm going to have this strapped up, and you know, I might have been doing a lot more damage to my knee just walking around. But that was, you know, that's what's been happening with me. Other than that, let's kind of dive in now. It's been a couple of minutes so people can kind of, you know, gather and get used to the time. Be punctual. Come on now, even though I was a couple of minutes late. So the Lion's Guard, I got the box of miniatures from the Lion. I was lucky enough to pick up the actual box itself. It comes with free blade guard. So what I decided to do, whereas I've taken on a little bit of extra work on a Saturday to kind of help with the cost of living crisis, I'm not making regular videos at the moment, so we're going to have to just contend with me doing lives. But you do get free blade guard in here. So I decided, in the spirit of the channel, where I don't really adhere to rules or law, I would do them as each part of the Dark Angels. So we've got a Dark Angels one, a Deathwing one, which chat did kindly decide on being the Sergeant, and today we are going to be doing a Ravenwing guy. So it's the three kind of, you know, corners of the Dark Angels, and this is what we've come up with so far. You do just have to bear with us. They are only ever so slightly blue tacked together. There was a lot of comments on my last one about the head being a bit too big. It's not, it's just blue tacked on. It sits very nicely in the helmet. It's just that it's stuck on with blue tack. But this is our Dark Angels guy. Obviously he will have his little backpack, just like that. This was our first one that we did, us and chat, which I think turned out really cool. You kind of sit there and obviously, again, bear with us. He is only blue tacked together, so he's kind of be a bit more like that. He's very dynamic looking. We did come up with a brilliant idea last time for a Watcher. Good on chat for that one. So the Watcher is going to be carrying a shield like this. He's going to be for the Deathwing, which is the Sergeant guy. And he turned out like this. Again, bear with us. He is only blue tacked. That's how he kind of looks. He gets a banner as well because he's a sergeant, and he has got the cool kind of wiping blade set of arms, which I think just turned out so good. Again, he is only ever so lightly blue tacked together, so bear with us. I will try and put up pictures of all of these after today's episode, but today we're going to be focusing on the Ravenwing. Now, it's part of, I haven't really done much Ravenwing. I've kind of stuck to Deathwing and Dark Angels purely because I think the bone complements the dark green really, really nicely. That's why I haven't done a lot of Ravenwing stuff on my channel. I will be getting around to it, but this is we've been rolling a dice. We don't get to roll the dice today because we know we're going to be using this body, and we know we are going to be doing a Ravenwing. So I've had a lot of time to think about this guy. Obviously, while I've been doing other things, I've been thinking of the Ravenwing because it's one I haven't done too much of, you know. So I was really looking forward to this. I was excited to do this. I was gutted that Deathwing got the part 2, but I'm glad we are leaving what I would consider the best till last, because I've got some really, really cool ideas for this guy. So let's have a look at where we are. The Watcher is a fantastic idea. I forget that I've got Watchers, and chat was like, just why don't you have a Watcher carrying it? So he's going to have like a little Watcher just in front of him on a base, carrying his shield, which I just thought was wicked. Good on you, chat. See, you come through when I need you. So Ravenwing. Now, again, I've got a bit of an idea for this guy already. Now, it's very subtle, but this guy really kind of, because he's got a foot on his tactical rock, he's kind of leaning. So he's leaning in this way. And there's some really cool bits that I wanted to kind of play around with. So for the first part, what we are going to do is we're going to go with, it's this arm. I've already picked this out. I will not be taking questions. I really want to put the focus on the shield for this guy. Now, again, I don't adhere to the law. I don't adhere to legal rules. I just kind of build stuff that I think looks cool, and you know that's how I do my hobbying. So you know, all this, anything like, oh, you can't do that, it is out the window. And again, it's incredibly liberating for what, you know, we come up with and stuff like that. So we're definitely using this arm. I like this arm. I like the kind of stabbing motion he's kind of got going on here. So we're definitely going to be using this. It is quite cool. Reminds me of the Emperor's Champion dude that they did. But what I kind of want him, I want him to kind of have like his other arm with his shield kind of really up. But what we are going to do is we're going to make the shield really, really ornate. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a really good play around. We do just need his pistol, which will be this one. That will just be attached. That goes. No. It's not any of those. Okay, that's fine. Don't worry about that too much for the minute. I'm sure it should have been that one, but that one hasn't got a holster. Now, we did have some of these last time. That's definitely the right one. I'm just making sure that I haven't used the wrong bit on anything. Same again. I think it might be that one's the wrong one, but it looks right. So okay, we're not going to worry too much about the gun for the minute, as that can always be changed at a later date, and I can always add a handle if I need to, which I might actually have to do because I feel that I've messed up here, which is a little bit of a shame. So yes, let's deal with this little situation here as I realise what I've done. So I think that this guy, oh no, because that would have gone that way. Oh, I don't know. Have I missed? I don't really know what I've done actually. I've definitely unclipped something that I shouldn't have, I feel. Let's have a look, because if I have unclipped anything, it will be in here. We might want to keep this out, as I like this wing, and I'm determined to kind of use it. So let's keep that. Let's just get these little guys out. These Diddy Marines, absolutely love them. Let's see what we've got. Aha! Now that's a plain one. That's fine because we can actually just nip that pin off and attach that. So that's a contender for a gun. That one's got feathers, so we might want that. Nice. So what I do, and the way I start with all my kit bashes and things like that, is I start by finding bits that I like. This is the first thing I always do. I just find it makes life so much easier. And just kind of work out what works, what doesn't work, what kind of like I can make work and stuff like that, like this. Now, I really was determined to use this last time, but I couldn't. Now, I know the pistol's a little bit smaller, but I'm definitely thinking I'm going to cut that pin off. Yeah, 100%. That's the decision. Let's go with this. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to nip that off. And I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit. You won't really see this, but it's nice if it's finished off nicely, just in case any bits do kind of get exposed or anything like that. We'll just run the file around it. But how is everyone today? What are you guys working on? Fraser, if you're still in chat, how's the Ultramarines come along? How's the Howling Griffins? More importantly, they were looking great, and definitely think you should carry on with those. Don't get me wrong, quartering's a horrible color scheme, like to do, but they look great. So what's everyone up to today? How's your week been? Are we all well? Let's just pop that off. I don't know what that is, and then we're just going to trim that lovely jubbly. There we go. Might just need to nip that bit off just there. There we go. Like I said, you probably won't see all this, but I do just want to make sure it is kind of covered. I'll work on my flesh terrors, assault intercessors, and after that I've got the job. Oh, nice. I think if I was going to do Blood Angels, flesh terrors would be the way to go. 100%. I hope you're giving them some very meaty looking chain swords, because flesh tearers hands down. 3 Devastators is being done for the Griffins. Captain Ventress underway for the Ultras, and got the Lamartis stuff as well. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Again, I like it. The Lamartis is the new Blood Angels one. Am I right? I think he looks like he's got little legs. I wasn't overly keen on him, if I'm honest with you, but maybe I'm just biased. Maybe this message was brought to you by the Dark Angels gang. Who knows? It was 100% brought to you by the Dark Angels gang. So I'm just going to attach this here. Just so we've got this kind of boxed off and done already. Nice, I like it. I might actually just move it back slightly. Yeah, like that. So it sits more towards the back. So there we go. We've got a nice little bit of gubbins and iconography already. I like it. And it shouldn't, because the way the arm's up, it won't interfere with the... We want the arm kind of pointing this way. We want it kind of level, as if he's about to stab someone. Proper oink. Now, the first thing I am going to tackle then, the backpack will stay the same. There isn't a need to kind of change that too much. Let's unclip that next. But what I do need is a particular shield arm, as I need it to be kind of squared off, almost like he's like defending against a blow and then he's about to stab. But the focal point for this guy I really want to be the shield, so I want to do some really crazy iconography on him to kind of, as you all know, I like my Space Marines with a sprinkling of ridiculousness. Yeah, he's a chaplain. Kitbash land. Oh, do you know what? If you can, if you're on Instagram or Facebook and you're on my Cut a Rabbit Facebook group, is Uavine1, send me pictures. I'd love to see. I'd like to do like a Land Raider for Raven Wing, but I don't know. I don't like the shape of them. I think I'd have to change it. But I am tempted. They're great looking kits. Yeah, the new model. Yeah, see, I don't know about, I like, the top half looks good, but I don't know whether it's the posing or the angle that you see the picture from. He looks a little bit squatty. Like his legs, like his thighs look a little bit short to me. You know, I don't know. That might not be the case. Like Astaroth is a great example. The Astaroth model, he looks like he lost effort halfway through his jump. But I think it's the angle that you see the miniature from, because he kind of looks a little bit like he should be like drawn back a little bit more, and he just looks a little bit flimsy, like a bit of a yogurt, you know what I mean? I think that's the best way to describe it. But you know, cool model. I like the idea of him, but he just looks a little bit kind of like he lost interest mid-jump. Yeah, I don't know, like, I think proportion wise, I don't know whether it's his artificer armor where it does that. I'm not too sure. I don't know, but you know, that's just, you know, how I feel about them. Again, I'm incredibly biased to Dark Angels, as you all know. So that's going to be the backpack. We're not going to make any alterations to that at all in the slightest, because we don't actually need to. I am going to use this cool little tilt plate here, which has got the cool broken sword on and some feathers. I thought that was quite cool. Again, a quick check, and once it's attached, it shouldn't interfere with anything. We've got a lot of clearance there. Let's just check. Yeah, we got loads. Look, we got loads of room, so we can use whatever one of these we want. As we discovered last time, I actually had to remove the feathers because they did dangle down a little bit and it just got in the way, which was a bit of a shame. I might have to change this because I just realised it's exactly the same, and I want them all to have different tilt plates, so we might have to come up with a new little didgeridoo Maduji thing. But we need the sword. Let's look for the that's the shield I'm going to use, because that's the plain one, and we are going to be filing off a lot of the details for this. So let's just use that, and then we want this one. Now we need, I think it's going to be this one. Yeah, I think it's this one here we need. That looks to be about right, because we want that arm kind of up and we want it kind of bunched together so it's level, because then we can have the sword arm going over it. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's perfect. That is what we want. Let's just trim that up. So you need some bits extra, but yeah, the box is a bit meh. I'm not ever happy with it. I do put it over the old Michael. But you know what? 100%. I think new plastic is always a good thing. I definitely, you know, new models in any capacity, whether, you know, I like them or not, that's just my opinion, but not every model's for me and not every model's for you. You know, there's going to be someone out there that absolutely loves that model, and that is what it should be about. I think I tend to be a bit more critical, not towards because it's a certain chapter, although we laugh and joke, but, you know, Dark Angels, if you cut me, I bleed green and bone and a little bit black. I think with them, they're just a bit, bits are always a good thing, and you can always look at something and go, that could be a really good basis for something else. New models in any capacity is great, and is great for the hobby, personally, so I stand by that. Right, that's his shoulder pad. I don't need anything there. We do need one of these, which is his, we spoke about these and how cool this kit is, because all the hands kind of go on with these little like sections. So if you can just change the arms if you want them, but very, very cool. I like these. So we're just going to unclip this and this, because we're going to use this one. I don't know whether that's right. I don't think there's any particular one you need to use to make them fit or anything like that. So let's just trim this up. I don't think so. That goes like that. Yeah, that just goes there. Very nice. Again, we can glue that on straight away because that's not going to interfere. Carlitos, hello. How are you today, sir? Lovely to see you. How's it going? What are you doing? What are you working on? I missed you. I was kind of worried that you wouldn't be here. So, but now you're here. The gang's all here. I'll be trying to do a Sangard conversions using the new wings from the AOS models. Let's see if I can get them looking right, rather than use the jump packs. I do think like wings look better. I definitely think they've missed a bit of a trick there. Maybe like the prosecutor stuff might work for you. I was tempted to add wings to my Balthazar conversion, just so he had wings literally coming out of every hole going. But I thought, well, you know, buying bits off eBay, definitely not. So yeah, so like this, but what we're going to do with his arm, we're going to have it kind of more upwards, like here, so it's kind of level, and you kind of get a feel for the model and how dynamic the pose is going to be, because he's going to look like this. So that's the pose, that's what we're going for. And these are just bits from the Blade Guard kit. There's nothing special about these whatsoever. However, this is where it starts to get interesting. Now, I know North Star was kind of really like chomping at the bit for me to use a Beaky. Now, we do have some options. We can either use the winged helmet from Archie's Forge that we didn't use last time. Again, I'll just try and show you. Which I think might look quite cool. The only problem with this one is he's a bit limited to how far he turns, because if we line it up with the ball joint, he kind of gets this weird dip where he's looking downwards, because of how far the actual head comes out. So we might have to take a bit of a check on that one. But Did someone say Beaky? Yes, we did. Right, so let's have a look, because I'm not actually sure what I've got Beaky-wise here. I might make him a little bit of a bespoke. I'm going to unclip one of these. I might make him his own unique little tilt plate. It's going to be very nice like that. And I think he's going to look like a very smart boy. Especially if we put that there like this. Let's make this first, then we'll worry about the head. Okay. Sometimes the jokes just write themselves. I'll go to thousands for a make quite nice to into a bit of chaos. I did the Lord on the Carcadrak thinking, oh, maybe I'll paint up some Slaves of Darkness. I really like that model, and I got to the black armor and I was like, nah, this isn't for me. So I don't think I'll be doing any of that. But, you know, it's cool. It's cool regardless. I have got some accursed cultists on the shelf that I keep looking at, because I really need to paint some more of them. I had a really good time painting them. Oh my god, I've absolutely mullered that. Right, we're not using that. We're going to get another one. So I really wanted to kind of, you know, I might do something with that. I like it. How are you going to paint the blade guard? Classic green, bone, white, definitely not dark green. So Typhon, I am not at all in the slightest. So what we've got here now, again, I will just reiterate this. I do not give a monkeys about legal or the law. One reason why I like the Dark Angels so much is that they're such a great blank canvas, especially for new hobbyists or hobbyists that want to write their own narrative, because they're so secretive, they can never be proved or disproved. You know, you could paint them pink and be like, no, this is a chapter within the Dark Angels, and they can go, that doesn't exist, but it's a secret of the Rock. You know, they're a great narrative faction. So one is going to be painted in Dark Angel, one is going to be painted in Deathwing, and one is going to be painted as a Ravenwing. That's how I roll. So I'm going to get like almost like a champion from each chapter to accompany the lion on his endeavours on the bus, because that's how he travels. Let's just nip this off and try not to absolutely knacker this one. God, that's a tiny little part there, isn't it? Wow. Cool. I might have to file this. Wow. I think that's asking for trouble. Let's grab a file. Big helmet with loose. So I don't actually have any of the wings left from the veterans. I've used them. I used them on my Balthazar. I do need to get some more. So I'm not too sure. We'll have a look. I want to have a really good look at the Ravenwing kit, as I think there's probably bits that I've overlooked on there that's probably going to be really good for this. So that's where I'm at. Right, that's a bit better. So I kind of want this to be like at an angle. We'll try and line the top right corner up. We don't want it dead straight, so that's a bit boring. So let's just, I need to nip off that little rivet there. And I think I need to nip off this one. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to use my handle for this. I do need to do something for October. Do you know what? I've still got some of my Orc Commando kill team left that I still need to finish. Like I need to do something with it. So I think I probably will do something for October. I did one last year, as I painted some up for my godson. However, I do need to kind of, I'd like to paint. So I like the orcs. What do we all think about the reveals? Did we all watch the reveals on Saturday? How do we feel about them? Anything stand out? Anything must buy? What about battle boxes? Anything kind of tickle you in all the right places? Okay, I like it. Let's go with this. There we go. It's called a tilt plate here. that is going to be the one that we use for our guy. And again, a quick check. If I just pop this in just here where it'll be, like that, the arm should have plenty of clearance. Yeah, we got loads around that. That's good. Okay, cool. Lovely, lovely. There's the tilt plate done. Oh, just knocked it out of line. Well done, Rob. Oh my God, what have I done? Right, hang on. I think it's slightly curved, so I need to just stick a bit more on it. Let's let this dry quite a bit. We'll leave it there, I think. I think that looks quite fancy. Let's let that dry. Where are we? I think it's the same. Audio, is the audio okay? Is it, how's it going? Can we hear me okay? Is it back? Just before we go on. A bit crackly. We have got, again, really bad weather here. So let's give it a couple of seconds and take it from there. Let me just, I don't think there's anything I can really make about with to kind of make it better. We'll just give it a minute or so and see how we go. What about now? How are we sounding? Okay, or still on and off? What I really do, I need like a little sign where I can go on air or applaud with some crackles. Okay, so I will just say this now. We have got really horrendous weather where I am at the moment. It's absolutely torrential rain. Do bear with us. If it does go, it might be just because of the weather and the internet just generally not being very good in my house, I'm afraid. So let's try and move on a bit swifter. Beakies, let's have a look. Now, the Raven Wing upgrade sprue, I don't think you get many heads. In actual fact, I don't think you get any helmets apart from these guys here, which I'm not really too interested in. So again, on the new upgrade sprue, there are no beakies. Again, a bit of a shame, but nothing that can be kind of done. Let's have a look in here. I've got loads of little boxes of stuff, so I'm sure I've got one somewhere. Although I don't think I have many beaky helmets, in all honesty. It's just not something I really kind of use, which is, I should really use a bit more. I did make a cool little Kitbash veteran. I can nick one off of him if I need to, as I thought he was quite cool with a beaky. Let's have a look at the veterans one and see if we've got anything here. So there's none on that one. They're eliminators. What's that? That's a captain. That's a Infernus Marine. None of that. That's, oh no. What that is. What we got here? Deathwing Knights. Right. Don't need that. So, we have a beaky. Okay, so he's a maybe. Have we got any better ones? I think that's it. I think it's slim pickings, I'm afraid. Let's go with this one. Yeah, he's funny. He's funky looking. He's got a proper bird look to him, isn't he? Let's go with that. Now I wonder if we can make him any fancier, because I mean he's cool looking, don't get me wrong, but could we make it any fancier, I wonder? Obviously big fan of altering parts as I need them, but it is very intricate work, so it's something that we'll just have to be a bit careful with. Let's just remove the flashing and see how that kind of fits in. Again, because of the beakiness, we might have to revise this, because it's all well and good if he was looking dead on, but because we want him kind of like with the sword arm up, I don't know whether a beaky's going to work. Let's leave the head till last, and what we can do is we can unclip a load of options and we can work out what's going to be the best for it. I think that's probably the way to go with this guy, because he's going to be I need to make sure that I can do what I want to do first. The only thing else I do need is on the new upgrade sprue there, I've noticed they don't have any dedicated Raven Wing shoulder pads. They have Dark Angels ones, but not Raven Wing, which is a bit frustrating considering this is replacing the other stuff. So let's have a look and see what we can actually work with here. Now there are some there, but I don't think they're big enough, which is okay, not the end of the world. Let's have a look. What I really need to do is stop putting all my stuff back together, because I keep picking up the same bloody sprue every single time. So let's just, there we go, that's what we want. Right. So we do have this one here, but it's the wrong way round, as the notch is on this side. That's a bit frustrating. Again, not the end of the world, but what have we got here? Same again, the notch is the wrong way round. I was trying to avoid doing blank shoulder pads for Raven Wing, but I might have to use a blank one and add the iconography to it. I think that's going to be one of the only ways we can really get around this, as I don't think any of my other upgrade sprues have big Raven Wing, as we are going a little bit against the grain here with what we're trying to accomplish. So we might just need to be a bit more compromising, which I didn't really want to do. Yeah, I like a beaky. I just don't think you see him enough, in all honesty. Now, the other one I have got is this guy here. Now, again, that could work. Like, he sits a bit better, I think. So I could just give this one to the veteran. I don't think there's much in it, but I feel that this one sticks out. Yeah, if you line it up with the actual bow joint, I mean, we're talking points of a millimetre, but that definitely sticks out a little bit longer. So you're going to go over to that guy. Sorry, mate, we're going to nick your head. Right, job done. Good, that's where we are. Okay, so now we can pop that off because that's completely dry, and we can start working on the shield, which is obviously going to be the focal point of this guy. We'll worry about the head. We'll decide at the end, and a shoulder pad. What we're going to do about that. Like I said, it's not the end of the world if I have to use a transfer. I'd rather it be sculpted, but you know, that's neither here nor there. Now, the first thing I do want to do is I want to remove this. Again, I think it's just going to give us a slightly better kind of overall finish for what I've got in mind. So the first thing I am going to do is I'm going to take my hobby knife and I'm just going to start really almost like shaving it off in little bits. I want to get this down as much as possible. The nice thing about this is because it's really flat, you can kind of just put your blade against it and just work your way in. One thing I will say, if anyone has any questions why I'm doing it or anything like that, right, Carlitos, stop spoiling everything. So I did say earlier I wanted to keep this out. Now I think it would look cool if we just had like this big ridiculous wing sticking out of it. Like I think that would look really cool. Almost like his speciality is his shield, and he's really good with his shield. I definitely think something like that. I've also got some really cool big flat bits of iconography, which I'm, I guess, hell bent on using. I'll grab them. It is not those, not that. More so, it's this one with the skull. And the plan is to kind of remove this, put these wings on it here, and have the kind of part of the wing section literally like sticking out of the shield. I might have to use another one, but that is the plan for the minute. But for the second, let's just shave this off, as this is going to be, I think, in all honesty, probably the most time-consuming bit of this build. Is kind of getting it all nice and smooth and finished off quite nicely. So I am gonna great minds think alike, you're damn right. And I just think it's a bit of fun. Again, I like my Marines to look a little bit ridiculous. I don't take it too seriously. I just think it's, you know, definitely like, you know, have a bit of fun with it. As I've said, I like my Marines. You know, they should look stupid. They should look ridiculous. You know, they're bloody space Nazi type things, aren't they? Like fascists. They're just, you know, are Space Marines the good guys? Obviously, we like certain factions and we play as them. But I do think, you know, it's to be taken with a pinch of salt on this kind of thing. So let's make them ridiculous. Let's make them a bit of fun. Let's put the fun back in Funeral. I did that, but used the winged sword next to the skull one. See, I'm not sure which one I'm going to use yet. I do like the skull one. I like how kind of like, one of my favourite words, ostentatious it is. It's just ridiculous. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to free up our little tilt plate here. I was kind of like hell-bent on not using these flat bits, because I kind of really do need to savour these Raven wings. However, I do need to invest in some blue stuff as well. And what I'm going to do now is I'm literally just going to start filing it all off. I'll probably take that bit down a bit more. What I need to do is get a nice smooth finish on this, because I don't want it to look like I have just filed it down. I've got some really, really ultra fine sandpaper just behind me, so we are going to be finishing it off with that. But for the most part, let's remove and get it all completely. These files will make short work of it. These are actual jeweler's files. I've had these a long time. They have been absolutely battered by me, but they're the gift that keeps on giving. So let's just, again, I want to try and be a bit careful with the shield itself. I don't want it to look all battered and that. I want it to be quite pristine looking. And I do, if I can, I want to kind of keep this groove. So I might just need to, you know, keep going back to that and making sure that imprint is there. The main thing I do, and the best way of doing this, is I look away and run my finger over it, and it should feel smooth. With taking away the aid of sight, you'll know if it's kind of smooth or not. I used Archie's Forge body and played around with a spare shield I had. The winged helmet here is actually from Archie's Forge, but I do just find they're just a little bit too big. I think they're just a little touch too big for, I don't know whether the sizings or I've just got a bit of an iffy batch. I'm not sure, but I like Archie Forge stuff. The other one I really like is a company called Resin Munitorium. Again, I don't use a lot of 3D printed bits, but they do some really, really lovely stuff. Again, 3D printing, something that I think we spoke about quite extensively in part 2. It can be a bit, you know, it's a hobby within a hobby, really, isn't it? You know, all the upkeep and the knowledge of, you know, just doing it to actually get the model is something else. I don't have a lot of time to invest in 3D printing, but maybe I will in the future. When I get these 6 Nova Marines finished, I'm tempted to do some blade guard for one of the... Do them. Honestly, the blade guard kit's really good. For 3 little tiny sprues, I think it's great. But then I really enjoyed the Eliminators kit as well. I think the Eliminator kit, I don't know what they're like in game. Are they, you know, but I think they're wicked Eliminators. I think they look so cool. And that's what we do here. We look at whether it's cool or not. So I'm just going to keep just almost buffing this off. We're just going to keep... I love everyone that's tuned in to watch me file a shield down for 10 minutes. Thank you very much. Okay, we are getting there, but I am going to switch over to some very fine sandpaper now. So I've got some 320 grit here, which is quite, because what I can do, if I get that, and I reckon about there, I'm just going to rip off a little bit like this. I like to try and keep it as neat as I can, and then I'm just going to, and I'm not putting any pressure on this, I'm just letting the sandpaper do all the work because I don't want to lose that detail. And the nice thing about this red grass thing is I can spin it at the same time, so I can literally just buff it round while I spin this. Trust me, it'll be worth it. It's going to look great. But what chapter to do for them? That's the question. I think honestly, Blood Angels, Blade Guard, I think look lovely, like in that proper red. Some nice sharp highlights, and they, yeah, I think that's a winner. Let's just. We are nearly there. See, again, what I am going to do is I'm just occasionally going to run my knife into this little channel because I want to try and keep that, and that's what's going to, I'm hoping, it's just plastic dust, it's not losing it, it's quite deep still, so that's good. But I do just want to make sure that I'm tempted to kind of put some super glue thin over this to even it out and then go back at it with the sandpaper. I do find super glue thin is a really, really good way because obviously it melts the plastic, so any little like detail it should kind of just save some time, any imperfections. Really, I could have done with some even finer sandpaper if I'm honest with you, but this will work for what we need. As you know, don't forget as well, we're gonna hide a big portion of this with some of that Raven Wing iconography. I think any squad, like regardless of the colour scheme, once you see them all together, I think it just adds something. Like that's always been my jam, is seeing something come together. Like I'm a big fan of seeing a project just come together, you know, adding that model one at a time. And that's really all I've done with my Dark Angels, just one at a time. I started off with an Intercessor and I just did crazy stuff, you know, just make my own kind of bits. And I really like it. I do think there's something to be said about watching an army grow. You know, it's not just, it's almost like a little story of progress, you know, that you've done. And I like that. What Space Marines would you collect if you didn't do Dark Angel? Imperial Fists, hands down. I like Imperial Fists. I think yellow is a fantastic colour to work with. And I think Imperial Fists are, once you get them all together, again, seeing them on the shelf together or the tabletop together, I think Imperial Fists are one of, if not the best visually striking armies in Warhammer 40,000. I just think there's something about them, you know, whether you do, you know, 3rd or 5th company. I think once again, probably 3rd is a good one. Was Tor Garadon? He's 3rd, isn't he? Zigro as an army, it just looks awesome. I do. I occasionally I wander into here, and I'll just look at my shelf, which might seem really, really weird because it's my stuff anyway. But I get a bit of a little kick, going, I really, really like this, and you know, I think sometimes as well, like with Dark Angels, like why I don't really get hobby burnout or anything like that. Like I'm always chomping at the bit to sit down and just do something in my office, is because I'm always kind of building like that. You know, I'm spending time with what I do and enjoying it. All right, now that's feeling pretty good, and it's sinking quite far into there. Look at that. Wow. We haven't lost much of the thickness. So what I'm going to do, I add successor chapters into my Dark Angels. I've got Angels of Redemption, you know, like a seconded unit. I've got captains from other chapters that I've added in. I love it. I think more people should add little successor chapter units into their armies, because I think it's a great excuse to kind of have them in, still be part of the required army, but also paint something different, keep it fresh. If you're bored of painting red, look at your successors and just, you know, look at what you can add in. And I think that's the, you know, where it keeps it fresh all the time. So I like doing it. I'm very pro. But then once again, because I'm not a strict rules person, I wouldn't look at someone's army and go, they shouldn't be there, because chances are I don't know if they should be or not, because I don't know enough about it. So let's just, I'm just being really careful to keep this little channel here. And what I want to do, because I am a little bit worried that I filed some of it away here, which isn't, you know, the end of the world, but I would have liked to have kept it. Maybe I should just file it all flat. We'll see how it looks. You'll hear me say it all the time. We'll see how it looks. Meaning I'm too indecisive. But let's just see, and here we can score that in. Like I said, it's not imperative. I'd like to keep it, but not the end of the world if we even. I can always use some plasticard and make some more trim for it to get it to stand out, which isn't, you know, too hard to do. It's just very fiddly. But let's just keep that just here. I don't think I have. I think it's just a bit packed with the plastic dust from all the filing. At least that's the lie I'm telling myself, because I think it is. I'd like to add the Knight of Aberrance or Angels of Absolution by Dark Angels. I was looking at some the other day. I actually think we've got some really, really cool looking successor chapters. Like, they are cool. I think out of, who is your favourite successor chapter? Now, I've got a bit of a soft spot for Size of the Emperor. I think, well, again, they're a fantastic faction. Sons of the Kraken. I like the idea of those. The old deep sea boys. That's good. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to paint this over. And what this will do, it should smooth out any kind of bits, just so we can see how well we've got. Now, I can see already there, we've still got some bits left. Yeah, I know. I like the idea. Again, you know, I think are successor chapters utilised more than they should be? I like to see a good force of, like, again, Flesh Terrors. I think Flesh Terrors are, you know, they're a great looking faction, especially on the tabletop. You see loads of them. you know, that kind of darker red armor with the white shoulder pads. Looks great. Really does. So let's just, I'm hoping this is, because we don't want the, right, so I can see here, I'm going to try and show you, chat. If we catch the light just here, see there's still a little bit of an edge. You can still see the imprint there. I'm not too worried about the middle section. We can dress that up. But what I do need is, we're just going to let that dry, which won't take long. And then I'm going to give it another run through with the file. The Griffins, of course, are mostly due to the cord. See, I definitely think, like Howling Griffins, they're one of those factions like quartering is tough work. You know, it only takes it to be a bit wonky or not straight, and it's definitely going to be noticeable. But you put the effort into them, and I tell you what, you have an army or a little faction or a force on your shelf or the tabletop that to me just looks that bit more special. Like, that's what I would definitely say. There's something about it that just elevates it, that it just looks good. Angels of Redemption, because I love painting. I do Angels of Redemptions. I'm going to do heavy intercessors, Angels of Redemption. I think they're wicked. Like, you get the best of both worlds with the bone and the dark green, and you get a little bit of red. Always a bonus. Love it. I think it's a great faction. I would like to see them get some dedicated kits, but you know, but I do. I think they're great looking. Angels of Redemption. Right. I think in this instance, what I am going to do then is I'm just going to because we want to make sure this is, I think I'm just going to file the whole thing flat, so it's going to be one thing. I don't really want to, but I think that's going to be the best way for me to remove all this stuff from the middle. This is a long process, and I think if you want it to look good, it's going to be a long process. There's nothing more I can really kind of, there are no tips to this. There are no shortcuts when it comes to patience. There is only the image of the end goal and what it will look like. It happened on a tank, and I had to strip it and do again because one of them. So I think that's the thing. Like it's a lot of work. Quartering such, you know, even just doing half and half is a bit of an art form in itself. But when you start doing quarters, it becomes, you know, that you say it takes one wonky line to be really noticeable, and it doesn't even have to be like that much out for you to notice, and that's the worst thing about it. Okay, I think we're nearly there. I've been a bit more aggressive this time with it, just to try and buff those last bits out. I don't know whether it's easier for me to kind of put it like this and just... Now, if you are going to do stuff like this, like I'm doing, and you want to put flat stuff on it or just kind of dress stuff, I'm going to show you a really cool way of being a bit cheeky with a shortcut here on how to get the angles and just make stuff fit a little bit better. It's something that I did on my Dreadnought video. If you haven't seen that, I mean, that's Christmas last year, where I kind of jazzed up a Dark Angels Dreadnought. You can get away with it, normal Marines, but the bigger stuff, exactly. I think with that, obviously, when you've got more space to working becomes a little bit easier. But when you're doing stuff like that, it's more noticeable. It will stand out more because it's wrong on a bigger space, so it draws the eye to that mistake. So it can be, you know, it's definitely not easy quartering. And that's not only that way, you've got to get it that way as well, which is just, you know. How do you do yours? Do you start with the yellow and then block in your red and just kind of build your lines out? Like, how do you do yours, Roger? Everyone. It's Hobby Hero 2024, Josh Price in the chat. Absolute celebrity. All right, Josh, how are you? Just catching you up to speed there, Josh. We're just sanding down a shield and have been for about 20 minutes. I hope you're ready for excitement tonight, because well, I don't think it gets more than this. Okay. I definitely think that's gonna be the one. The other thing I do find, if you kind of lick your finger and just wipe it over it, it will take off any excess. Kind of, obviously now my lungs are full of plastic, but still. We can see that we've got a really nice smooth finish. So right, so how do we make something like that nice flat thing that I've got? Because obviously I'm very good at describing stuff as well. How do we make it fit, I hear you ask? How do you make it fit, Rob? Well, I'm glad you asked. Now, there's a few options that we've got here. We can do this one, where the wing is there. We can do this woman, like here. To be fair, she takes up a large portion of the shield. So I do quite like her. She's quite cool. And then if we look at this one, now there's not much else we can really kind of use aside from a wing. Now, my original idea is to have the wing kind of jutting out from the shield, but I'm not sure whether we can make that work. I wonder. Let's unclip all these bits and have a real good look at what we can do and if we can do anything at all. Now, this one here on the bike is a little bit smaller, so I'm actually going to nick this one, and I'd rather nick this one because it's not off my sprue. So there we go. So we're going to steal that, and then we're going to, sorry bike, not that one, we want that one. So let's get that woman, which is that one now. I like the one with the scroll. I don't know, we could use the one with the scroll, I suppose. She's kind of cool with the scroll, but then it does hang over. Is that going to look a bit too weird? What does chat think if the scroll overhangs the plate of the shield? How do we feel about that? Or should it be like that with just the wings overhanging? Or should we do the wing thing here? Do you know what? I'm kind of leaning towards this now. I think that'd be quite cool. What does chat think? Could have the wing peeking over the backpack. So what I'm thinking, let me just unclip these two bits and I'll show you where I'm at. And let's make a decision. Chat's never let me down, and they're not going to do it on part 3. So let's just unclip these. So if we can imagine, so we've got this one first, something like that, and then like this wing kind of sticking out. You'll have to excuse how sloppy that is, but something like that poking out the top. Or we do something like this, which obviously does cover a fair old bit more of the shield. And we do something similar. We kind of have this poking out the top. Or we can line it with like from the side there to make him look like he's got some big angelic shield. I don't know about you, but I'm liking the idea of doing that. What do we think? I think I can line that up. And what we can do, we can actually cut this along here. What about, now just hear me out, chat. This is going to be a bit crazy. What if I cut this along here like that, and we actually build that into the shield like this, so it will kind of be like part of it? Yeah, are we agreed? That one, do that. I like that option. Okay, well, I think that's kind of, you know, I wasn't saying I was gonna wing it. Stop it. Right, so let's, first thing we need to do, let's cut this straight, because this is going to be our, and this is what these little squares for are on your cutting mat. Let's just make sure this is straight. I'm trying to do this with a camera in my face. Now all we're going to do, just about there, where my finger, I'm going to leave it longer. We're going to remove that. And then using like an anvil type of option. Right, this little skull needs to come off first. I told you lot I was excited about this one, and it's just going to get wild. Like, this shield is going to be so good. And the nice thing is, I don't actually think I've seen anyone kind of doing stuff like this. So I think it's going to be, I think this one's definitely going to, I said I was going to save the best till last, didn't I? I'm going to leave that slightly longer, because I'd be happier if I could just finish it with my file, as I want this to be kind of spot on. Or I say that I need it to be spot on. So I'm actually going to use the, and I know once I'm kind of getting all of this, like there, I'm just going to do this on the edge of the table. Don't worry, I'm still here. Still here. Let's just file this. There we go. So we should have a nice flat. And what I can actually do here to ensure it is I'm going to get this wing, I'm going to hold it flat on here, and I'm just going to do a couple of passes, making sure so I definitely think that's, where's my ruler? We're getting into some engineering kind of territory here. Can we see that? We're sitting dead against that, which is great. That's exactly what we want. Now, the next part is going to be the tricky part, because what I actually need to do is we need to actually remove this side like this, because this side is then going to replace this here like this. So what we're going to do is with this edge, and this is why I kind of needed everything to be nice and flat. Again, I might just be off camera while I make sure this is dead straight, because I just need to mark where I'm gonna cut. So bear with us. You might see my tatty head. Not that one, just pop into. Beautiful. Right, now we've done all that work. All I'm going to do, I'm actually going to nip that section off, because then what I'll do is I'm going to file this bit dead straight to ensure that it's, sorry, I'm not paying attention to chat at the moment. I obviously just trying to, oh good, I was talking. There we go. Let's just trying to get as close to the edge as possible with my clippers, just so I can kind of save that first bit of work. What I don't want is to take too much off and then just, you know, end up with a really weird wonky looking shield. So I think that's gonna do. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take off any excess here, because what we do need to take into consideration is this little bit here. Now it will look a little bit jank on the inside, but I don't think you're really going to see it too much. But once we're there, what we can do is with our we're just going to file it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to keep checking to make sure that we are getting there. So it's up here. And it's just going to be one of them things where we kind of sit there and we check a bit, we file a bit, we check a bit more to kind of make sure that we are 100% not. Now we're pretty spot on, but we it's just a little bit there. I'm going to switch to this again. I'm just going to wouldn't it be really like a shock if I made this a part tour? Oh my goodness, could you imagine? Everyone thought this was the final part of the blade guard, but no, there is part 3, part 2. Now we are looking pretty good. Again, I just need to make sure the angle's the same as well. I think it's a bit more here that needs to come off. The nice thing about this is I can always fill it ever so slightly with like super glue, but this should be again, where are we? I think it's here. I don't think he said huck to her. If that's the only way, then huck to her is. Brilliant, that's tickled me. Love it. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure that I bevel this part the same way the wing goes. So what I want to do is where this kind of goes here, I want it to be like there. So again, I'm just going to really gently, like that. I'm going to do it all by eye because that's how I roll. And we're just going to shape that round on both sides. Okay, now I am tempted to pin this, but I don't know how I would do it. So what I think we need to do is this needs to be a bit more, I'll say aggressively flat, like, because there's a slight bevel in it. Now the nice thing about this bit is because we're actually lining up, because of the way the shield is curved and then it kind of cuts in here because it's bowed, we kind of get a little bit of a free pass here to kind of join it, which is quite nice. But I do need to make sure that it's a nice straight like I don't want the plastic to be ever so slightly rounded. I need it to be quite a sharp kind of drop off. So I'm just going to get this, and I'm just going to yeah, I think so. Okay, let's just clean up this. And then, oh yeah, this is going to look good. And then I think we can start to fill it. I do just feels like just there's like a little tiny bit just sticking out. I just need to I think we're there. So it's going to look something like that, which I think is going to look, yeah, that's the one. I'm chuffed. Let's do it. So what I'm going to do, we're going to do, and I mean loads of super glue thin. We want this to be really, 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 really well put on. The last thing I need is for this to come undone, because we've still got work we need to do. So let's just really kind of load that up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to line up that little point with the top, just like that, and then using hands like an absolute surgeon, we're just going to make sure that that's all in line. It needs to come down ever so slightly more. About there. Okay. So we've got the basis for our shield, which is the big wing on one side, which is, I got to think, that's pretty damn cool. And are we going with this one? I think the angel is going to be a better. Is there now we've got this though? Is there a better option? I'm wondering. Let's let this dry for a second. Let's just leave that to dry. Let's just make sure that's. Because I can always run the file over that to make sure it's on there. But I think we're there. Is there anything better we can use? Now, I do like the idea of these long twisty things, but I don't want to cover up the hard work we've just done. I mean, we could do. Is it going to be too many wings? What do we think, chat? Are we going with the like the angel watcher type thing, or see? I think that's going to be too many wings. How many wings is too many wings though? Like that. Which one are we leaning to? We've got the skull wing thing, or we've got the kind of watcher dude. I'm leaning towards the watcher. Yeah, I think I am too. I think that's going to be a bit easier to work with. We could kind of put him more towards the bottom. Towards the bottom. I think if we just center him, or if we have him raised up, and then I can put loads of purity seals at the bottom here, which I think is definitely Barry for me. Barry's back. Revenge of Barry. Right. Cool. Yeah, let's do this one. That's good. Now, a little tip about stuff like this. Let's just, what you can do, if you ever feel stuff like this is out of line, if you paint some of this in, what it would actually do, it will loosen the super glue that you've already put in, and you can actually kind of manipulate it and move it around a little bit more. So like there, we can actually push it back. I don't want to have to do any more filing or anything like that with this. So I kind of want to get it right first time. I think about there, that's definitely going to be the one. Again, we'll just paint some on that side. Now, with this, it's dead flat, but as we can see here, our shield is not. It's got a curvature to it, which means it's all well and good lining up some of it, but some of it sticks out, as you can see there, which we don't really want. So how do you kind of match the curvature of the piece you want? Well, what I've kind of found, and it can be time consuming. I don't think stuff like this is going to be, but what you will need is like a piece of sandpaper. I'm going to use a fresh bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ever so roughly cut, but we want to make it longer, like a strip like that. Now, the reason why I've done that is because I need that to be like that. And what we're going to do, we're going to place this just here. If you can, what we need to do is wrap it round, something like that. Ah, that's perfect. There we go. Now, this is fiddly. I'm not going to lie, it's fiddly. But you need to make sure that your sandpaper is sitting flat against the piece. So we need to kind of bunch that excess together. And then, as you can see, our sandpaper takes on the kind of the curve of the shield. And what we can do is we can just start filing it. So there's a little tip for you. That's how we do it. And what it will do is actually file out. See, it started in the middle because it's not dead flat, and it'll actually kind of do the curvature for you. I wonder if there's a better way. Do you know what? I probably shouldn't have glued that wing on just yet. Not the end of the world. There we go. That's what we want. There we go. We're laughing. And we're just going to do it like this. What would you think of cutting off the left wing of the Watcher and aligning him so that it kind of looked like the wing on the shield is his other wing? I think with doing something like that, I mean, it'd be easy enough to do, but the problem is you're then going to have to put him quite far up, which means there's a lot of exposed flat plate there, which I don't want. So I think for the sake of it just being cool, we'll stick him in the middle. We'll put him more towards the top like this, and then we'll dress this bottom bit in purity seals to kind of hide it. I like the idea. I like the idea of having it so it looks like one wing is kind of like whew, flapped open. The other thing is because where he is, he will then have to be off center as well, which might look a bit odd. So just aesthetically, I think I'll kind of go with where we are with it. But that's why I'm not gonna, I don't know about lining it up that way. So I think that's going to be better. Let's just do it like this. And all we're going to do, we could probably use some harsher sandpaper. Really, I've got some extra funky in my little box down here. But we'll start it off like this so you can see what I mean. You'll probably see that it's already starting to take. You see, oh, it's very subtle, but there is an ever so slightly. So let's just. One thing I do like about these, how all three of these guys have a very individual flavour, and I'm very much here for it. It's definitely Kitbash, and them like this is definitely giving me the urge to paint them. At the moment, it's finding time. It's not the fact that I'm not doing anything. It's just I'm trying to find the time to do this stuff at the moment, which is half the battle. as you can see, we've started to put that curvature on our plate, and although we've still got a gap, it's starting to take shape. So I'm gonna change this for a bit rougher. Let's go for a bit rough, shall we? So we need what's the next one down? Let's go 180. And we just want to there we go. We're just going to again just wrap this round like that. That round like that. Make sure we've got that curve. And we're just going to probably do it like this actually. And this is how I kind of get the shape and form stuff. It is time consuming. It does give a really nice snug fit, and you can get this so accurate with doing stuff like this way. You do just need to make sure that your plastic is thick enough. Here we've got some lovely chunky thick plastic, so it's definitely you know, we've got loads that we can kind of play with. Again, it's just a question of constantly checking. As you can see, that gap between the wings is reducing. I think another good pass with this, and we should be fairly good to go on attaching this bit. The nice thing about this that I find is, like, it is ridiculous. We're just kind of doing what we want here with no above. When I do post stuff like this on Instagram, which I will do, and you know, don't get me wrong, I always think everyone's welcome to an opinion. You're on the internet. You kind of got to be a little bit subject to that. I sometimes think that people don't quite get it what I'm doing, and they can't see past their own kind of, well, because it's not in a book, because it's not law, you can't do that. And I think people have a bit of a tough time doing it. They're like, well, Raven Wing wouldn't do that. Or they'll say something nice. They'll do the old shit sandwich. They'll go, there we go, look at that. Nearly there. They'll say something like, oh yeah, it looks cool. But it would never happen. And I think, ooh, why you got to say that? Like, I get it. But even when you write like, you know, hey, look, I'm not a big law guy. My idea, blah, blah, blah. They can't accept it, which I think's quite funny. And it's one of the reasons why I haven't posted so much on Instagram on the regular for a while now, as I find it just opens you up to too much kind of ridicule, even when you're like, nah. The amount of times I had to say to people about the Death Watch, they were like, head's too big. I was like, it's not, it's blue tacked on. Like, I don't know what to tell you, mate. It's blue tacked on. It's raised up a little bit. So I Kitbash every single unit I build. I want all my minis look different for everyone else. Roosh, that's exactly what I do. And you know, if you've seen any of my videos before, kitbashing, I kitbash a hell of a lot of stuff. All my Dark Angels, every single one of them, bar like I guess the Lion and Belial, are kitbashed, and maybe Lazarus. Everything else is 100% kitbashed, even if it's just a head swap or I've jazzed something up in some way. And I love doing it because they are unique to me. I love having an army that's, you know, completely unique. And these guys are going to really, 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 I think, fit in well with it. And I can't wait to get them painted up, actually. But all different artwork out there, anything is possible. You know what? That's exactly it. I think it's how we interpret it. I think some people just take it a bit too seriously. I do find sometimes it's hard to have normal conversations with a lot of hobbyists because they can't seem to separate Warhammer from absolutely anything. So you can't just talk to them about something. It has to come back to a Warhammer reference. And I find people like that to be quite difficult. So there we are. I think that is more than enough than what we need. maybe a touch more. Let's just pop that there like that, so I know where he is. And then let's just I know where success chips for Blood Angels, so no one me can tell me what it is. See, that's the thing. Now, I think when it comes to home brewing Marines, that's something that they've got over dedicated chapters, is they are yours, and there is no one that can tell you what to do. Again, one of the reasons why I like Dark Angel so much is because of their lore. They're so secretive. Nobody can tell you it's right or wrong because they don't know. Just Secrets of the Rock. They're a brilliant blank canvas. I love them. Do you do painting videos too? Yeah, Carlitos, I do. I do a hell of a lot of stuff. Go check out my channel. There's videos, there's unboxings, paint videos. There's tons of stuff on there. I do a lot of old, a little bit of everything, if you will. There's some terrain. I thatched a miniature roof the other week and popped it on there. So there's a ton of stuff on there. And if there's any, suggestions or anything like that, things you're interested in, drop me a message, let me know, and we'll see what we can do. So, right, let's have a look at our... There we go. As you can see, we've got the form, which we wanted. That is going to glue on really, really nicely. And it's going to, you can see from the bottom there, just how nice of a fit that is. Try and get that in the light. And that's just by wrapping the sandpaper, little tiny motions. Obviously, you do get kind of a little bit of sandpaper everywhere, but hey, that's life. It's the price we pay for art. What I am going to do now is I am just going to file this in, so this is seamless. So I'm just going to kind of run this here like this, just so there's not so much of a noticeable kind of, I guess, gap here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of this and I'm going to paint it in, because it will melt any of the odd little bits of glue and it'll give me a really, really good bond. So we're just going to do that. And there we go. Do you know what? I think it's really simple, but I love this. I think this is so good. Will Asmodai be appearing on a channel or in a future? Asmodai and the Inner Circle companions 100% will be. I really, really want to get my hands on some Inner Circle companions. I think they're a great looking set, and I really want to kind of jazz them up in my own style. So they will definitely be happening on the channel. Again, Asmodai. If it's not just something simple like an unboxing, I'll probably paint him live. I do try and be a bit more proactive with the painting side of things. I definitely think just if I'm going to paint, I might as well just turn my camera on. I do paint like a bit of an idiot, because you joke about, people sitting like absolute divs while they paint. Well, that is me. I am the worst. I hang off the edge of the table. I poke my tongue out when I concentrate. It's awful. So, but I definitely think if I'm going to be doing that, then I might as well turn the camera on and do it with people and try and, someone might there want some tips, or I might learn something, and that's, kind of what I'm here for. So let's just... So my slaughtered spears of Blood Angel sisters, these spears, they're chained to those spears. More chains the higher the rank. Or space of blue spear. I like it. I like the idea of having like more chains for the higher the rank, almost like they're bound by service even more. I like that. I like stuff like that. It's subtle. That's definitely, my kind of narrative thematic. I tend to make little narrative beats myself, but I don't do anything with like new stuff like that. What is your opinion on Finecast? Don't talk to me about it. There's your answer. I think Finecast is the biggest waste of time ever. It's soft, it doesn't hold the detail, it's prone to air bubbles, it's just not good as a product. And I'm surprised for all these years that it hasn't passed some sort of British standard quality control check, because it's absolutely fucking abysmal. I think Finecast is an outdated practice, an outdated material, and an outdated method that's been forced upon hobbyists in 2024. I will not buy Finecast. I think it's awful, an awful product. You shouldn't be able to sell something of such poor quality for such an extortionate price. It's daylight robbery. I will not. That's my strong opinion on Finecast. But I take that a lot with, you see it a lot on the web store now, expert kits. What are they? We couldn't be bothered to make plastic ones. Finecast next to plastic does not hold up at all in the slightest. I think it's an outdated practice. Why isn't everything just plastic? I get it because of costs. I would rather wait and have less models but have better quality ones that will last longer. That's just my opinion. I think Finecast is awful, and how they've got away with selling it for so long is absolutely beyond me. Right, let's attach this. Just in case you didn't get that, I don't like it. I'm not a fan, as you can tell. Right, let's just stick a nice bit of super glue thin on this guy. There we go. We need kind of like a lot. I'm going to need a bit of drying time with this guy because I need to make sure that he is straight. He might look straight at the top, but what we can actually do is we can use this little rock thing at the bottom to just make sure we're dead straight. Guys, he does not have Finecast. Did it show? I didn't. I do. I just think Finecast is so outdated. Like, where is that? Ever since I started the hobby, and I didn't know what Finecast was. I bought my first Finecast model, which was a Vargelf Courtier for the Flesh Eater Quartz. And I remember getting it and opening it up and being like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is awful. It's so soft. And then when I was doing my company veterans and I was using the banner from the Ancient, oh my God, it was just awful. Like, I can't believe that they sell that. Let's just, I want to make sure this is dead straight. I think we're there. But it does look a touch wonky at the top there. So let's just... What we need to do is, I'll tell you what we can actually use. We can make sure it's straight by lining up the sword should be pointing directly down. So if we use kind of this to line it up, we can kind of get a rough idea. It's not going to matter. It's a little bit... What I'm always looking for is things that I can line up. And in this instance, what I'm actually going to use to make sure is this little point here. If we line it up, it should kind of be with the sword. I don't know if you guys can see that. If we line that up there, it's straight. It only needs to look straight. It doesn't necessarily need to be straight because he's going to be at a slight angle with his shield, so it's not going to matter too much. But the next thing we are going to do is we need to decorate this. And what I mean by that is we can use some cool little bits. Finecast is pretty bad, the material is too soft. Having said that, I've bought some I can recast individual details from models, Kitbash and sandwich piece between two blocks. Blue stuff. Blue stuff is something I need to look into. I think we've spoken about this in the last two parts. there's a great channel that you should check out called Adam's Hobby Stuff, and he does a lot of. He's just done a video on blue stuff. Really cool guy. Does amazing Nurgle stuff. Definitely check him out. But I need to look and get some blue stuff for things like this to be able to kind of, you know, recast it. But I just don't want to you know, I need to make sure I make provisions for this. 2, 3, 4, there we go. And that I can mitigate some costs. The bog Starlux. Yeah, I think that's looking all right, that, isn't it? And you think when he's the shield should be the really big focal point. That's what I'm aiming for. So what have we got that we can jazz this guy up with? On the new sprue, there isn't too much, which is a bit poopy pants, but there's nothing on that one either. Let's have a look at these. No. One thing I did notice with the Blade Guard kit, they don't come with a lot of separate parts, which is a shame. Like, there's no purity seals, there's no, you know, bits like that, which is a little bit shame. Before the new came out, managed to source his Finecast banner from eBay. Yeah, like I said, it's just really difficult to work with. It's too soft as a material for a hobbyist to use. Personally, I think it is anyway. I think it's. Oh look, I found a little sword that I kept. That's cool. It definitely is. They need to do something with it. I've heard that the new Old World Finecast stuff is. Oh, look, speaking of devil, there it is. I mean, this is just. You know, you can. I don't want to because I might end up using it. I probably won't use it, but it's just. This is just awful. This you can literally just bend. Look at that. It's awful. Like, it's really bad, and it's so light. It doesn't even feel like it's a material that should be used for its purpose. All right. Oh, hang on. Look at these. Look at these. What I've got here. Look at those. Oh, hello. So if that is in place there, and that shield arm is like, oh, look at this. It's going to be up kind of like this. So what we can do is we can kind of one of these, one of those. Oh yes, this gets the juices going, I tell you. Right, wait there. I need to get my little bitty bits box that's just over here. I have many a bits box, and this is my little bitty one. Could have a small Ravenwing badge on the bottom. So, do you know? I was thinking that maybe I could fit one in. Like, don't get me wrong, 30 years ago it was probably really acceptable to replace like the weight of lead and stuff like that, but I think now it's just not a viable thing. No, I don't think I've got room. I tell you what I can do though, I can add transfer. I can add some of that cool writing, which I think might look quite good. What I do need to make sure is when I attach my cool little bannery things, I have room to do so. Now, if I attach the arm, poopy pants, and I don't like stuff overlapping the base, so let's just have a look at. This is becoming a nightmare. Right, let's just get some purity seals out, shall we? Where are they? Are they this side? No. Okay, there it is. It's very much a victim of its time. Like, to me, Games Workshop, they are a. Oh no, I had a spare one. Dingbat. They are a like a modern company, but they run as if they are like a company stuck in the past. Like their processes never really seem to update, and you think, come on now, like surely you've got to see that what you're doing is a bit outdated and that. But they don't seem to. Fine cars for 30 years, I think, is disgusting. Like, not one person has gone up to and went, any chance, you can, we could kind of stop this because it's awful. So if we put, what about in the middle? Yeah, oh, hello. I could pop that in the middle, and then we can just pop some little ones kind of either side of it. I think might look quite nice. What I need to be careful of, and what I'm trying to kind of gauge, is once the arm is in place, like here, I can get it to bloody stay in. Where's my blue tag? Let's just roll a little bit up and pop that in there, just so I can kind of, and it just needs to stop falling out for a minute. Right, about there. Push that in. There we go. Right. He's going to be about there. So if we put maybe that like there on that side, and then some little ones along here, what do we reckon? Sideways will be perfect down there. Could have a word printed on it. What you'd see on the shoulders, some banners. This is the thing. Do I have any scrolls? Let's have a quick look to see if I've got any scroll stuff. That's not a bad shout. That's exactly it. Like with kit bashing, maybe I don't know, maybe I'm just a little bit fussy. I think sometimes my problem with kit bashing, or my problem with, and that's why I did put like a big emphasis on kit bashing on my channel, and to try and like just give people a bit of like help, is for ages I didn't really like kit bashing because it looked exactly like it was, people had just stuck a stuff onto a model, and to me that it just didn't look quite right. Like it didn't look like an official kit. And one of the reasons why I err on subtlety when I do my kit bashing is because like I like to think that it could be an actual model. It could be something that's quite achievable by everyone. And I found that like a lot of people, like there was people that I've seen, especially in my local store, where they didn't quite know how to maybe like swap a gun arm. So the actual hand is upside down, and it's the wrong hand on the wrong arm because they didn't know how to get it the right way up. And you think it's really easy to do. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do kit bashing, is one, to kind of maybe like just get people to maybe food for thought and just think about what they're doing a little bit more, but also that it doesn't need to be like a massive conversion all the time. It can be really simple, and it can completely change a kit or a model to have something really unique. And that was why I kind of started doing it. And that's, it's just become a bit of an addiction really, because I think it's, kit bashing it's great fun. I think we should all do it. I think I'm gonna stick this one here. That one's definitely going on. Let's put this on. I'm going to put quite a bit of this on, because again with the purity seals, I like the skulls to kind of line up as if they had adorned it when it was dead straight. Again, it's the little details like that just help me kind of, I like to think, elevate my stuff to something nice, to something good. So let's just move that down a touch, about there. Like there. So already we're starting to look really nice. I don't think I've got any kind of scroll bits on. Oh look, I bloody had one. Always the way. What have we got? What's that? I found that. Blimey, don't know what that offers. Have I got any scrolly bits? Let me think. It's a shame really, because I could have done like them tassels and had that coming from underneath that really. That could have looked quite cool, couldn't it? Do you know what? Hang on just a minute, Jeffrey. Oh, hang on. Hang on, Rob's got an idea. If we get this, I'm going to cut that away. I'm going to cut that away. We are then going to get this, and we are going to cut this away. And then using a knife, I am going to get this, and I'm going to slice that off. I'm going to slice that off. I'm not talking because I'm trying not to cut my hands off. Like there. Okay. Let's just have a quick look at this, shall we? This could work. I like it. Look at that, we've turned a loincloth into some dangly bits. I like it. The beauty of kitbashing. You put that there, like that. What do we think of that? Chat, come on. Come on, chat. Stay with me. What do we reckon? Like this? Some cool skull tassels here. I hate when GW shows off a new awesome looking mini and then find out it's fine. Yes. That is the worst bit, or it'll be like it's Forge World stuff. And you know, don't get me wrong, Games Workshop do a lot of lovely stuff, they really do. But I do find sometimes I look at a model, like there's loads of Necromunda stuff I'd love to get my hands on, but I will not work with Finecast in that. I'm so sorry, it's awful. So let's just run this because it's ever so slightly curved. So let's just nice, just start to angle that out. Perfect. And then what I need to do is let's just trim this up a bit neater on this side. As we've got these cool 3 little skulls now dangling down. We're just going to shape that one in a little bit more so it doesn't look like it was next to something. Just shape that skull. And then what I am going to do is I'm going to get my really, really aggressive flat one here, and I'm going to just flatten this so it doesn't sit as aggressively outwards on the actual piece, as I don't want to do that. This is why we always check our bits box, because there'll be a good idea in there somewhere. Maybe thin the plastic, yeah, when it touches the watcher. Yep. I'm way ahead of you. Always thin your bits. Not like that, but you know. We just don't want it to look like really, really stupidly thick leather straps, so. Let's check that. Like there. I like it. I like it with it. It's a keeper. It's a keeper. That's going on. look at that, just that off little, you see that bit and you were like, that. And that is the beauty of the Kitbash. Look at this epic shield. Wow. I think a couple more, just maybe like 1 or 2 little purity seals just here now. Job's a good one. Job's a good one. Let's just, we're going to define them a little bit more. Need like a scribe or something to just deepen these. I used to have one for my Gundams. I don't know what happened to it. Be fair, I could probably redo it with a ruler. I'm that savvy. I can actually still see the line very, very faintly. So we should be okay. We can always add that in afterwards. Maybe I'll just adjust this guy ever so slightly. I think it's just so I can cut them up. Kitbash. That new iOS guy that just screams and make me a chaplain. Oh, the new Relictor. Yes, he is. I think if ever I was going to do an executioner chaplain for my Dark Angels, I would 100% have my eye on that guy as a starting point, because I think he's, yeah, 100%. Don't get me wrong, I like the chaplain model for 40k. I've got one in my army. However, I do think he's definitely very, very cool. How are we thinking about that now? Or shall I push that over and stick another one in? Should we go really grimdark? Like have it sticking out a bit more? What do we reckon? I've got, there's one. I thought I had, oh, there's 2. I got 2 more to play around with. I think what I would like to do is move this over just a touch. Just so it looks a bit more spaced. Nice. Judicial model is pretty nice. Still deciding what army you get. The only thing about the Judicial model is it's a bloody arseache to get hold of. That's the worst thing about it. Right side one would be defying gravity. The tassel needs to hang down towards the ground a bit. Well, that's what I was kind of thinking. That's why I've kind of like, however, I don't want to kind of read too much into it. See, I'm not sure if I've got any that kind of float over, which is what I really need. What's that? No. Let's have a little bit of a look. Let's go back to the bits one. Candles on his face. Yeah, see, the only thing I will say is I thought this was a purity seal, and I thought this was like a bit more like clothy. That's just the way I've always kind of looked at it. So, but then it's kind of like almost like it's starting to kind of get motion, because they're kind of going off to that way. I'm not too worried about it, but let's see if we can. Let's see if I've got any more. I don't think. Do you know one thing I don't have a lot of is purity seals. I thought I had loads, but I just don't think I If I had purity cells, where would I put them? I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to swap it over for that one. Just purely because I do think it's nice to keep that motion going. So we're just going to remove him. Or we could kind of, I suppose we could kind of straighten him out that way. Is that the same? No. So let's do this one. Or this one. Hang on, which one's got the better? No, this one. Let's go with that. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not looking for it to be spot on or completely, you know, physics accurate, but I do want to just keep that. I think like that is a bit better, because then it looks like it's doing that. I think that's definitely cover up. Same here. I mean, I've got my wallpaper of that one that I did the Kitbash for, and he's got the kind of like little sconces on his back, and he's just, oh, I love it. But like, my problem with it, and the reason why, again, kit bashing, is because you start to kind of look at like the Games Workshop stuff, and you're like, yeah, but they don't look like that. So that's the, you know, what about if I add some more up here as well? Like, do you reckon more is better? What do we reckon? Because I've got, do you know what? Yeah, screw it. Let's be rebellious. Let's use this one again. Hang on, I'll put it on here. And let's just add that to there. Like that. Well, see, I've with the reliquaries and stuff like that, I don't know how I'd attach them. I'd like to get maybe one at the top. That's not a bad idea. Do you know what? The one I want is the one with the key. Where's that? Do I have one of those? Bear with me 2 seconds, because I think oh, look at that. Oh, there was another one. That could have been cool. No, it's a bit too big. That's a shame. I like it. It's got a big badge. It's like his birthday. Let's have a quick look. We want little bits. Those are my assault intercessors. I need those. Ah, right, okay. So what we need is, yeah, that right there. Boom. Who said reliquaries? Because I'm going to come to your house and kiss you. Atomic Merp 1. prepare for a smooching. That's a fantastic idea. What we can do, let's just now we are going to need to do a little tiny bit of work with this. We're going to cut off the dangly bit. We're going to cut off the bottom side of the little spiky bits. We're going to cut off that end one. And then we're going to cut off these. Like this. I'm going to get the file and I'm going to really, really gently clean this up because I want this to be nice and flat. So this wasn't off the new upgrade sprue. This is actually off the, I think it's the Primaris Intercessor. No, it's off of the Infiltrator kit by the looks of it. Just going to make sure this is nice and then all I'm going to do, I need something ever so slightly curved because I can't do it on this now because I've done too much work. But if I, what's my cup like? Yeah, close enough. Let's get my cup. Because obviously I like drinking a nice cup of matcha. Let's just need a little bit of curvature. You got to use what you got around you. Let's check it. I think that's not far off. A little bit more. There's no point rushing up the last hurdle. So let's just make sure we've got this. Oh no, shit! I'm spilling bloody tea all over me. Don't savour the goodness. Oh, now I've got tea on my bloody desk. Anyone else like matcha tea in the chat? Press 1. Whichever you know, it's just I had one instead of. Ah, no. Well, you know, it's number 1. No one can take that away from you now. So you should just go through and get them all, and just be like, my Wednesday is number 3. This is becoming quite difficult. All right, okay, we're there. All right. All right, I think we're there. We're going to really, really quickly check it. Oh, that's spot on. All right. So we're going to get a good old bit of this. All right, we're just gonna what I'm trying to do is see how we can line this up now. If we look, it starts just on the inside of the second wing, just on the inside of the second wing. And I think that is jobs are good. And I like a busy looking dark angel. They should, you know. There we go. I think that is going to be a really, really strong focal point for our guy. What I'm going to do now, though, because I think we are kind of there, I'm going to start blue tacking this guy together so we can have a bit of a look, because I think I'm pretty much there, bar the shoulder pad. But what did I see a minute ago? It was oh no, it wasn't, was it? No. Nope. What have we got here? Nope. Here. No. See, there just isn't enough fancy bits. No. No. Where is the... Where have I put it? I don't know. Okay. The only thing I will say is we had this one. Now, if I do unclip it, I'll see, as a little tip, Terminator shoulder pads do, they fit really, really well. And this is one of the bigger, I actually don't know what this guy would be used for, because obviously Ravenwing wouldn't normally have Terminators and that. Let's just clean them up ever so quickly. But that fits perfectly. Now, I don't think you're really going to see his shoulder pad. Ah, look at that. Like that. And then, oh, I'm getting excited about this one. Paintbrush, airbrush, Railcan. How are you painting? Working on a shop's teaching army. Start painting 29 textures to me, the 5 terminators up being bored. Batch painting is a skill that I don't have, and I really admire people that do have, because I don't know how on earth people do it. To me, batch painting, again, we spoke about this in the last one. You know, I like the process. I paint one miniature at a time, and that works for me. However, I do find sometimes it can be really, I think it depends what you get out of the hobby, 100%, or what you want out of it. And then with the sword arm, I'm going to have to do it like this for the minute, but there he is. He's going to be like this with his kind of cool shield, which is just, oh, look at that. It's turned out so well. I'm so chuffed with that. That's cool. I'm a big fan, I got to admit. Obviously, the blue tack is ever so slightly dropping. I think I'm going to have to kind of pop him together and do some pictures maybe tomorrow. I don't think I'll get a chance to today. So it doesn't. Well, that's what I will do. I think what I'm going to do in this instance, I am going to use just a normal blade guard shoulder pad. I don't think I'm going to do the Ravenwing one. I think I'll stick I'll make him a knight, so I'll give him a fancy yellow stripe, as I think that'll look quite cool. And then I'll just do the Ravenwing symbol. What were we doing with the head, chat? Was it beaky? Did we like the beaky? Again, we do just need to be careful of how he's looking, because obviously with his sword arm, we just need to make sure that he's looking in the correct position, like this. because he's going to be about there. Should we go beaky? Should we do beak? I think chat's got his heart set on beaky, so I think beaky is what it needs to be. There is, we did play around with that one. It sits a little bit longer, so it's a little bit harder to get him to kind of in the pose we want, because we kind of want him looking over the thing. I've got it here. It's this one. It was a little bit, it just didn't work for me. I got to admit, it sits where if you line up the ball joint, it sits just a touch bigger. I don't know whether you can see that. He's just a touch bigger. And then I think I'll stick to the slightly smaller one, just to allow it to kind of, if I have to, what I'll do is I'll file the underside flat to get him into the pose that I need. But I think what I am going to do now, I could probably get away with the backpack being on, if I'm honest. I think so. I think that's going to get in the way of absolutely anything. So we can attach that. I think I might be able to get away with the sword arm in place as well. Maybe. I think I could probably paint around that quite comfortably. Obviously, I'm always a bit conscious when it comes to sub-assemblies. I think I'll leave the arms off just because I'm used to doing it. But I think that's where we are. I feel we can make too much. Yeah, he's Ravenwing. He's Ravenwing. Just as this guy is a Deathwing, and that guy is a Dark Angel. We've got 3 very distinct models for the Blade Guard. Every hand, if you had 3 hands of the Lion's Guard that come under the Dark Angels, all 3 wings. That's it. I just thought it just seemed a no-brainer. I've got 3 models that are quite, nice and really lovely details. Let's do 3 very different guys, and that's where we come up with. So yeah, beaky it is. We want a Ravenwing, absolutely. So that's what it's going to be. So I like it. I'm incredibly chuffed with this. I'll put up some clear pictures of the shield though in a minute on the community page. I am going to call it there. I think we should come back and do some painting. I'd love to roll the dice and see who I'm going to start with, and maybe we could do some painting together. That would be really, really cool. I got to admit, this is all really the YouTube you're going to be getting out of me for a little while, especially with a fractured knee. So it's been actually incredibly enjoyable. As I always say, thank you very much. It's a privilege that you've let me spend my evening with you, or your evening, and you've chosen to spend it with me. It really is lovely. It's nice to see people come for all of them, when I think that there's probably like 5.5 hours now of kit bashing and me rambling. So it's been amazing. Yeah, thank you very much for everyone who has just kind of helped me. I think we've got some amazing models. I'll put them all together. I'll put them on the little spinny thing, so stay tuned for a little short. I can't say thank you enough. It's been a pleasure, and I think we've got some really unique looking figures, and I'm really, really chuffed and looking forward to getting them painted and just doing a bit more with them. So there we go. Look, I'm going to end it there. Thanks again. It's been a long one. Stay tuned for pictures. Thank you so much, chat. You've been an absolute star. North Star, Kalitas, anyone that's been here for all 3 of them, your input's been invaluable, and it's been an absolute pleasure. I really, really enjoyed it. Definitely going to do more stuff like this. But yes, look, that is it from me. It's getting really late here. I'm an old man now, and it's 9 o'clock, so which means it's way past my bedtime. But that is it. Yeah, anything you're working on, if ever you're working on something, you want me to shout it out on Instagram or anything like that, or just let me know. Send them over to me. Cattle Rabbit Scale Model Studios. Always really happy to see what people work on and what they're doing. You know, talk to me about something that you think is cool or something you're proud of. I absolutely love it. I love the, you know, the passion that hobbyists have. But look, that is it from me in this one. I am going to go now. Thanks again. The community page is, if you click on my channel, and it will say like videos, lives, and then there'll be one that says community. Click on that and any updates from my channel, or hit that bell notification. Fuck off. Yeah, it's there, or you can actually hit the bell notification, which is great. Henry Cavill is proud. Henry Cavill probably plays Ultramarines. No, he's Custodes, isn't he? Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Dark Angels. No, thank you all. Could you do a Kitbash with the Dark Vengeance box? What do you mean, this Dark Vengeance box? This one here? Is that the one you mean? No, they're too small. I only do with Primaris. But I did do Balthazar. Way! There he is. There's a Kitbash video on my channel with him, if you're interested in seeing Balthazar cross the Rubicon Primaris in a lovely what if scenario. He was great fun to do. Look, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stop rambling. I love you, chat. You've been fantastic. I will see you all next time. God bless and take care. Bye bye.